Welcome back for another deep dive into AI. This time we're going to be looking at some pretty cool research on ReAct, which is short for reasoning and acting, and also multimodal AI.
Yeah, these are really pushing the boundaries of what AI can do, especially when we're talking about large language models.
LLMs for short.
Exactly, LLMs.
I think what I'm really excited about is how these new developments are getting over some of the limitations that LLMs have had in the past. Like, how can we get an AI that's mostly trained on text to interact with the real world?
It's something that's been a challenge for researchers for a while. You have these LLMs that know so much. They have this huge knowledge base, but they're kind of stuck in their own little digital world. And ReAct really gives us a way to bridge that gap by allowing LLMs to use tools and data outside of what they were trained on.
So instead of just spitting out information, it can actually go out and get new information.
Yeah.
Kind of like going to the library.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. ReAct prompting has this really interesting cyclical process. It involves thought request, pause result, and then finally answer. And it starts with the LLM kind of breaking down a problem step by step to figure out what it needs to know to solve it.
So it's like it's explaining its thought process.
Exactly.
Almost like a human would.
Yeah, and during that thought phase, the LLM might realize that it needs information that's not in its knowledge base. So that's where the request part comes in.
Okay.
The LLM basically says, hey, I need some help. Here's the data that I need.
And that could be anything from like searching Google to looking in some kind of specific database.
Exactly. And then we have the pause. The LLM has to wait for a human or another agent to give it the information it needs.
Just like it knows its own limitations.
Right.
And it knows when it needs to ask for help.
That's right. And once it gets the data it needs, that's the result. Then it uses that data to update its understanding of the problem and comes up with an answer.
That whole process is so fascinating. It's almost like the LLM is having a conversation with the real world.
Yeah.
It's asking questions, it's gathering information, and then refining its understanding based on what it learns.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that's really powerful about ReAct. It's not just a one-way street of information. It's this back and forth process where the LLM can learn and interact with the world.
I read an example in a paper that really made this clear. It was a situation where a boss asks for train schedules. Now, the LLM could understand the request, but it wouldn't actually know the train schedules without getting that info from somewhere else.
Right. That's a great example. It shows how ReAct can connect what the LLM already knows with the real world, which is always changing.
Yeah. So in that case, the LLM could use an API to look up the train schedules, get the most up-to-date information, and then give the boss a good answer.
Exactly. It seems simple, but it shows how useful ReAct can be in making LLMs more reliable in the real world.
We should also talk about chain of thought prompting. Seems like that's a really important technique for making ReAct work even better.
Definitely, chain of thought prompting is all about getting the LLM to consider different ways of thinking before it comes up with a solution. It's like encouraging it to brainstorm different ideas and then pick the best one.
So instead of just sticking to one way of thinking, it's exploring different options.
Right. And this is really important for making sure that the LLM's answer is well thought out and not just a random guess.
It seems like this would be especially helpful for those really complex problems where there isn't just one right answer.
Absolutely. Chain of thought prompting helps to avoid getting stuck on one idea, so you end up with a better and more reliable solution.
And this helps with some of the issues that traditional LLMs have, like hallucination, where the model might make things up because it doesn't have the information it needs.
That's right. Combining ReAct with chain of thought prompting means that those hallucinations happen much less often, so the LLMs become much more trustworthy.
And that leads us to multimodal AI. I feel like this is where things get really interesting, especially when we start talking about real-world applications.
Oh, for sure. Multimodal AI is about going beyond just text. It's about enabling AI to understand and interact with the world through lots of different ways, like images, sound, and even sensory data.
So it's like creating AI that can actually see, hear, and maybe even feel the world around it.
Exactly. And that opens up so many possibilities. One great example of multimodal AI that's been making waves is ReAct. It's a new approach that combines the power of LLMs with special AI models called visual experts.
This is where it feels like we're going beyond just information processing.
Yeah.
It's AI that can actually perceive and understand the world.
You got it. These visual experts are like specialists. Each one is trained on a specific visual task, like recognizing faces, detecting objects, or understanding what's happening in a scene.
It's like having a whole team of AI experts, each with its own set of skills.
Exactly. And what's really amazing about ReAct is that it's modular. You can easily add or remove different visual experts without having to rebuild the whole system from scratch.
That makes it super flexible. You can tailor it to different tasks or applications by just choosing the right combination of visual experts.
Exactly. One of the best examples of ReAct in action is processing receipts. Imagine you could just take pictures of a stack of receipts and have ReAct automatically pull out all the important information and categorize your expenses.
That would be a dream come true for anyone who hates dealing with expense reports.
Yeah.
And it shows how ReAct could really simplify everyday tasks and save us a ton of time.
For sure. And it goes way beyond expense reports. So think about online shopping. With ReAct, you could just show a picture of what you're looking for instead of typing in keywords.
So if I'm looking for a specific pair of shoes, I could just show ReAct a picture and it would understand my style and find similar items.
Exactly. It could completely change how we shop online, making it much more intuitive and personalized.
And then there's augmented reality. ReAct could be used to create really immersive experiences by overlaying information onto what we see on our phones.
Imagine walking down the street and your phone tells you all about the history of the buildings you're passing or identifies the different plants in a park.
That would be amazing. It would change how we experience the world around us.
And the potential in healthcare is huge. Surgeons could use ReAct during surgeries to get real-time feedback from medical images, which could make surgeries safer and more precise.
It's incredible to think how ReAct could revolutionize so many industries, from retail and education to medicine.
Absolutely. One of the most exciting things about ReAct is that it could really democratize AI development.
How so?
Well, by using pre-trained visual experts, ReAct doesn't need those massive data sets and tons of computing power that a lot of AI systems require.
So that means smaller companies and research teams could develop advanced AI applications without needing the same resources as a big tech company.
Exactly. It could lead to a lot more innovation and allow more people to contribute to the advancement of AI.
That brings us to an important comparison. We've talked about ReAct, but there are other multimodal AI systems out there, like Pauline, which is getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, Poem is really impressive. It's known for being able to understand and interact with the real world in amazing ways. It can control robots, follow complex instructions, and even show a degree of common sense.
So it seems like Pauline is more of a generalist, while ReAct is more specialized?
That's a good way to put it. Polemy is trained on a huge amount of data covering lots of different modalities, while ReAct focuses specifically on visual information by using those pre-trained visual experts.
So ReAct is all about efficiency and precision, using the right tools for the right job.
Exactly. And that specialization makes ReAct more accessible to more developers and researchers.
Right. It lowers the barrier to entry, which could lead to faster innovation and the development of even more amazing AI applications. It's really exciting to think about all the possibilities. These advancements in ReAct and multimodal AI could completely change how we interact with the world around us.
They represent a big shift in AI, moving away from just text-based systems to AI that can actually perceive, understand, and interact with the world in a more human-like way.
And as these technologies keep evolving, it's going to be fascinating to see how they impact our lives, our work, and even our understanding of intelligence itself.
It's a journey that's just beginning, and it's one that we'll be following closely.
It feels like we're right on the edge of something huge. We've seen AI make incredible progress over the last few years, but ReAct and multimodal AI seem like they're taking things to a whole new level.
I agree. It's not just about making things a little better. It's a completely different way of thinking about AI and how we can use it.
And it's not just the technical stuff. It's about how this will affect society, the economy, even how we understand intelligence itself.
You're right. As AI gets more powerful, we have to ask ourselves some pretty big questions about what it means to be human. What will our role be in a world where machines can do so many of the things that we used to think only humans could do?
That's something we need to be talking about right now, especially since these technologies are developing so fast and becoming a part of our lives.
Absolutely. We need to think about the ethics, the potential impact on jobs, and how we can make sure AI is used for good.
It's complicated and there aren't any easy answers, but it's a conversation we can't ignore.
One of the most interesting things about this is how we define intelligence. We've always thought about intelligence based on what humans can do, but AI is changing all that.
It's true. We're seeing AI systems doing things that we used to think were only possible for humans. Things like playing games, composing music, even writing poetry. It makes you wonder if our definition of intelligence is too limited.
Maybe we need to broaden our understanding of intelligence to include different ways of thinking, including the unique things that AI can do.
The Turing test, which was once the gold standard for AI intelligence, now feels kind of outdated. A machine could pass the Turing test just by imitating human conversation without really understanding what it's saying.
Exactly. That's why we need better ways to measure AI intelligence. Maybe by looking at its ability to learn, adapt, solve new problems, or even be creative.
And as we figure out these new ways to measure intelligence, we might find that AI intelligence isn't just a copy of human intelligence. It might be something completely different and unique.
That's an exciting possibility, but it also comes with some uncertainty. As AI gets more sophisticated, it might start doing things that we don't fully understand or can't predict.
Which brings us back to those ethical considerations we talked about. We need to make sure that AI aligns with human values and that we have ways to control it and guide its development.
It's not about being afraid of AI. It's about understanding how powerful it is and making sure it's used responsibly.
It's a responsibility that everyone shares. Researchers, developers, policymakers, and everyday people like us.
We need to talk openly and honestly about the potential benefits and risks of AI and work together to create a future where AI helps humanity and helps us solve some of the world's biggest problems.
It's a future full of potential, but it also needs careful thought and a commitment to doing things the right way.
I think that's a great point. To wrap things up, AI is powerful. It has the potential to make our world better, but it's up to us to make sure it's used wisely and for the good of everyone.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into ReAct multimodal AI and all the fascinating questions they raise about intelligence and what it means to be human.
It's been great talking with you.
And to all of you listening out there, thanks for tuning in to another deep dive.